Barry Young on Fox News Radio 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
Take a look at the calendar because we got the mayor's election. Actually, it's a big city election, but the mayor's race is the plum, and it's rapidly approaching. In fact, I got my vote by mail ballot just the other day, and we've been having candidates have been on this program. And today, ladies and gentlemen, Peggy Neely, who is how long? Because we just met face to face for the first time. But how long have you been on the Phoenix?
I was on the council 9.5 years.
That's all. 9.5 years. All right.
Oh, that's it.
Right.
I was in the last term of office. I was in my third term, and I'd served a year and a half of that.
Okay. So let me just ask you. You can go anywhere you want to with this question. But what are we going to do with this mess? The city, I mean.
Well, Barry, that's a great question because, we have the structure at the city to do some great things. But having worked on the inside and made some of the tough decisions that need to be made, I'm not going to have to be on the job training. So when I announced my candidacy, came straight out with a plan for what we're going to do with our economy, what we need to do to control our budget and make sure that City Hall is representing the taxpayers, not the opposite. Made sure that we had a comprehensive safety program and made sure that we strengthen our neighborhoods. And work on improving our tourism. But I can tell you we can't get that done without having some charter reforms. The charter came into effect in 1913, and the last time it was amended on any major level was in the 80s.
You're talking about the city's charter.
The city's charter. And I think we need to make some changes to that charter because I'm sure in 1913, they weren't imagining internet. They weren't imagining the lobbyists that we have. They didn't really realize what transparency would be in 2011. So we need to get in there, and we need to use what's happening with this election to have the momentum to move forward and make some charter changes. And those charter changes will include things like you will have a mandatory time that you talk about taxes before you raise them. I can tell you I did not vote for the food tax, but I have to say we use the public open meeting law, which is post it and in 24 hours you hold the meeting. That was wrong because we did it in the dead of night. No one knew we were looking to raise our food tax. I voted against it. We need to repeal it, but we need to make sure in the future we don't use that as a tool to find new revenue and do it overnight.
See, I think you could, like this food tax thing. I think if you sell it to the taxpayers, and they know there's a need.
Right.
They'll listen to you. They'll buy into it. But the way that thing came about ticked everyone off.
Absolutely. And, that's what I said during this period of time. We passed a food tax, found that new revenue source, and then we talked about our budget and approved the budget. And that was wrong. We had the cart before the horse, and if we wanted to go out and talk to the public about why we needed that, that would have been great. But before we did that, we had that new revenue source, and we also need to do budgeting differently. And I believe that we would put in that charter that we do zero-based budgeting. What does that mean? That we don't have department heads offer up what they believe the changes should be. We should zero out the budget every year, and then we decide what programs we should have and what we shouldn't.
Well, let me ask you, would any of that make I don't want to beat up anybody here, but just put it this way: this city, if you're not a huge business, this city's tough to do business with.
Right.
Not to get money from, just to function as a business in the city. You want to buy the property next door to your building and pave the parking lot? Go ahead and see how you get the crap kicked out of you for the next 18 months trying to get the permits. So the stuff you're talking about, would it make them more, what's the word that I'm looking for, pliable to work with business owners in this town?
Well,
responsive.
I think we should have a reputation of being a business-friendly city.
We're not.
I know we aren't, and we have made some changes at City Hall, but City Hall always pushes back. And you're right. We should be adaptable to the needs that need to happen to businesses. We have done some changes in Development Services Department that will allow you to take your approved plans by approved architects and engineers into the front counter. They'll stamp it and give you your permit. Unfortunately, what they have failed to tell people is it has to be small projects. It can't be large projects. So we need to move to be a business-friendly environment. We need to make sure that people that have businesses don't have to mandatorily fill out the form for taxes every month when they owe no taxes, that they should be able to do it online. We need to become more transparent. We need a real-time internet system that will tell you what we're doing, streaming our information. I truly believe that we have the ability to do it. But currently, we would prefer not to be transparent in what we're doing.
What should we be? I mean, this city, we talk about this on the air a lot of times. We're not a Western town. I'm not sure we're kind of a Midwestern town. Everybody down here from Minnesota and Wisconsin and all that. The city's fundamentally, it's not the same place, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just not the same place that it was in 1985. Not just because of growth, it's a different personality. And, if I tell you about San Francisco, you know what the feeling is about it. And if I tell you about Flagstaff, you know how it feels to be there. But if I tell somebody I'm from Phoenix, they don't really know what the heck I'm talking about. I mean, sunshine and that sort of thing. But we got an image for nice weather. Aside from that, nobody really knows what we are.
I think that's a good point. We need to decide, we need to have a business reputation for an industry that we truly believe in. We decided that an economic cluster called aerospace years ago, including Barry Goldwater, helped us move forward with aerospace. But we moved away from that. We need a strong economic cluster that we take a look at. I truly believe it's healthcare. Look at the healthcare industries that we have here now. I happen to represent Mayo Clinic in my district when I was on council. It will fully be incorporating. We got MD Anderson coming in with the state-of-the-art cancer facility. We've got TGen. We have a cancer hospital. We need to make sure that we are building a reputation of being a great city.
See, this is interesting. We've mentioned this before. You had Mayo in your district. A lot of people have no idea how big that piece of land is,
right, and
what they're planning to build there. I mean, it's like a small medical city that they have
Absolutely.
A vision to build up there. But we've got these three crown jewels here in this town. We have Mayo, and we got Barrows, and we have Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Right.
And there's other. I'm not trying to say
and MD Anderson coming.
Right, and that's coming, and that's got an international reputation. Right now we got these three, and we're going to get more, but nobody thinks of us as a major place that you go if you got trouble or you're trying to avoid trouble. They think of going to UCLA.
Right.
And they may think of, we know we got Mayo here, but, sometimes they talk about it in terms of Minnesota. People who are here know that it's here. But outside our immediate sphere, nobody seems to know what we got.
With the medical community, Peggy, aren't we still talking about a medical school?
Absolutely. Expand
downtown, that would be
the downtown. And actually, Mayo has looked at exploring doing something of their own right here in Arizona. I've been in on those conversations. We have the ability to start talking about the great things. We don't use our pulpit as the mayor of this city to talk about the great things that are going on. Too often we get entrenched in political issues that take us sideways.
Do you promise, if you win the mayor's race, do you promise not to go to Washington, D.C. or New York and write a nasty article about how bad we are from a foreign city outside Phoenix?
Let's just put it the way it was put. It's not the Arizona I know.
Right. Would you promise not to do? You know how bad that makes it?
Yeah, I want to be Phoenix's cheerleader. I want to talk about the great things we have to offer. How dare you tell people that they should boycott this city? They hurt us. There are members that are running against me that were part of the boycott, that supported the SEIU, that supported Raul Grijalva, that decided that they would boycott Arizona, which cost this valley over $140 million. We cannot be involved in that. We need to be the biggest champion for this city we've ever had.
Yeah, we've got to take a break here quickly, but you guys you're off to the races. But I got into the meat and potatoes of this thing because you have a long record. You said 9.5 years you served on the council, so I think there's just a couple of things people want to clear up, and we'll do that.
Sure. Right, we'll do that. We'll do that in a second. This is Peggy Neely. She's running in the mayor's race in just a few weeks for the city of Phoenix. Hang on.
The nearly famous Barry Young Show. 550 KFYI. KFYI.com.
Okay, we have a few minutes on this half hour with Peggy Neely, who's running for mayor of the city. What day is the election? Okay, it's the 30th, isn't it?
It's the 30th. Early ballots went out on the 6th, so they're out there.
Okay, and everybody is, I say everybody's running. We calls every time we put one of the well-known candidates on. I seem to get calls from 800 different people who, happen to be calling from the camper that's rolling through town, and they somehow qualified to run for mayor. At any rate, what is going to happen to, for example, the food tax? What's going to happen to property taxes? I mean, everybody's feeling the crunch. You want to balance the budget of the city of Phoenix. Meanwhile, we can't even get near to it with the state. State's bankrupt. I mean, it is. And this thing always has a spillover effect. We're not going to be immune from it.
There's a little something else going on here, and I think it's an oldie but a goodie, but it's always the big pink elephant in the room, and that is that a lot of people are ticked off. You're a resident of the city of Phoenix, but the food tax kind of, equals exactly the amount of the pay raises that city, the pension funds and city. How do you respond to that? People are they're very angry about that.
Go check out my record. And a lot of the people that are out there running are telling people what they want to hear. I voted against the food tax. It needs to be repealed. And that's why Sal DiCiccio has chosen to endorse me. I voted against the budget because it is not sustainable. But we need a more transparent budget process. And I told you earlier, we need to do zero-based budgeting. What does that mean? Zero out the departments every year. We have departments that have not been zero-based budget in 20 years. And so what happens is we continue to carry programs over year after year after year. The PEP programs are left, and then we, the residents, are losing our services. We need to make real budget decisions. And I can tell you, I asked the mayor a year ago to do charter reform. Let's put it out there. Let's make the changes that need to happen. Pension reform. I want us to be able to have representatives of the taxpayers on the pension funds and the health care funds. We then can have some responsibility for what's going on and not hide behind the charter saying.
Hold on. They're playing the theme music. Cut us both off if I don't stop this. Your website. Go ahead and give the website.
PeggyNeely.com.
Okay. It's easy to remember.
And I would really ask people to know the candidates. My opponent, Wes Gullett, is not an outsider. He's a lobbyist. Make sure that you vote for the people that can make the difference. Right. I have that track record.
Peggy Neely, we're out of time,
Thank you,
folks.
Peggy.
Another hour of the show, seconds away on KFYI.